medical costs go up, one of the reasons could be fraud perpetrated by the clients, fraud perpetrated by fraudsters, fraud perpetrated by the providers. Example, when I talk by the client, you see I have a medical policy. I'm not well. And I think since I have a policy here and I have a limit of 2 million, I've not utilized it the whole year. So I take my relative for treatment. You think you are doing a social thing, but in essence, that is fraud. Yeah. That person is not covered. He's not entitled to the benefit. So you are going to get prescription, falsify, get prescription for this person. So we have seen members who are insured committing fraud of that nature. Number two, that's now from the client. Two, you find that again, people just want to, for example, on Sunday they're coming from church. It's only one child who is unwell, but because they have insurance, they go, all of them now are done a checkup. And there's no way the hospital cannot prescribe, and they can give some medicine. All that, yeah. So that one now you find innocently again, willingly or unwillingly, people overusing their benefit. That's a fraud of some nature. That's when now we look at the customer. Now come to the fraudsters. The fraudsters get the cards. When they get the cards, they duplicate. They go and treat different people. You have never been sick, but you find your bill, you have exhausted your medical bill because fraudsters have duplicated.
Using your account.
Yeah, using your account. They steal medicine, they get people into hospital, they get people out. Those are how they scheme cards. Now those are the fraudsters. And they are colluding. You find even doctors who know how to prescribe. They get medicines from the pharmacies, and these are the medicines they go and sell. So that's now the area of the fraudsters. Then I talked about the providers. The providers, when you go to hospital, they tell you, are you cash paying or your insurance? If it's 5K cash paying, you're a client, you pay 500 for consultation or 1,000. If it's insurance, it's 2,000 or 2,500. Why the difference? You take the same amount of time for observation. It's the same doctor who is seeing you. But what justification can you say that a person who is insured will pay 3 times or 2 times the person who is paying cash? So we find that is an area of where the hospitals also steal from us. Now you go to the RAP, you are saying you are having a headache or you are suspect. They ask you if the doctor says you are traveled up country, then they want to check you for malaria parasite and malaria antigen. Then they do the slide. That alone would have cost you 1,200. But if you say it's insurance, they do blood count, they do what, then you find that in that one visit you paid 20,000. Your outpatient limit is 50. So once you've taken 50%. Now we see that as fraud, where the medics are actually, because they've just taken the same amount of blood, they are testing it to get money because they have the facility and whatnot. And they are not looking at it. We see that as fraud. We find fraud also from the doctors. Now, they know a branded drug costs this much. And when a patent is given only for 10 years from the date of manufacture. But after the manufacture, then those people have been given the period to recover their research and development costs. Now the formulary is made available to others. When it becomes available to others, then they do branded generics. Even the same pharmaceutical industry or factory, like Glaxo, when they finish, they have their own generics. Then they have the brand and they have the generic that have come. You find they have Augmentin, they have Synad, they have all this. Now you find the doctors, because they make higher margins on the brand, the doctors collude and then they say they prescribe brands only. Then instead of you getting cheaper treatment at say what would have costed you 3,000, you are paying 30,000 because you have been given branded drugs which you could have easily avoided. All those we consider them as ways that the providers defraud the insurance company. Then you find it makes now the losses deeper. You will find in India, actually the president has now said he wants a law to be passed that the first course of treatment is generic unless the brand, there's no generic out. So that people only go for the branded drugs when we don't have alternative. not alternative medicine, alternative branded generics. So we see those as others. Then others are given trips. Doctors have got targets. You saw like GlaxoSmithKline was fined in the US that a doctor who you meet certain targets, then you have your all-day trip. Are you seeing? All those are fraud. But so fraud in medical insurance is not fraud where you have thuggery, only thugs doing it. It's guys who are professionals. The staff of the insurance companies also can also commit fraud. How? They know that this person is actually not the right person, and they can give information out. They can collude with the hospital and give the details of a person who is insured for somebody to be treated and discharged. And then when the claim comes, they pay. The staff also can do fraud. Staff can also go and pick medicine where they know I have a limit that I have not used. Then they can also pick the medicine and misuse. No, that's a meeting I had today at the industry. We are telling the industry players, we understand where the abuse of medical cover is. And actually, some of it is a lack of awareness, because I have met a professor here who says his cover is 2 million. Then he came and told me, I have not taken my money. Yeah, and when I was discussing with him, how come you have not taken your money? Then he was telling me, you know what, my cover is 2 million, and I have not taken that out. So for last year and this year, if I put them together, that will be 4 million. So people have not understood that medical insurance is insurance you take for the unforeseen circumstances. I was only able to cool him down when I told him what the university has paid for you is actually 58,000 to buy you a cover, an inpatient limit of 2 million. So if you want your money back, all we can do is I talk to the university, we remove you from the cover, they give you your 58,000, you take care of your medical bills. Then when he realized it's only 58, he said, no way, I can't come out. Now, he was looking at it as an allowance. He was thinking that when he has medical cover, it's an allowance. It's money that you draw. So that's why you find people are committing fraud. Even these people who see and I think that's the same problem even the doctors could be having. They say this money is there because they check and they see that you have a limit of 2 million you have not utilized. They want to maximize use of it because they think they are helping you to draw. People think that they are drawing what belongs to them. So unless people now get proper education to know that this is an emergency, we collect little money and put the money together, that for those who are less fortunate, when they fall sick, it could be you, it could be me, then the insurance comes in. But if you withdraw out, then nobody can afford medical cover because there are some whose bills land to millions. Then how will they get those millions to buy insurance? And yet he paid only 58,000. And we have been able to see this, to demonstrate when we are educating people, we tell them, okay, this is what your employer paid for you, and these are the claims we have paid. And people say, oh, thank God, my company took cover for me. The 58,000 would not have helped because we are looking at cost per person when you are in a group. Then when you are in an individual, it's the same thing. Now you take, as an individual, you take a medical cover, pay 30,000, pay 50,000, take a 1 million cover or a 2 million cover. That 2 million, it's not that you have created a reserve you are going to withdraw. It's for the emergency. Now we are working on the law of large numbers, that if we take 20 people, if we take 2,000 people, we are sure because of the morbidity rate at 40%, 40% of these people will be unwell. Now the 2,000 people should be able to fund the 40. Are you seeing? Now that's how we calculate. Then out of this we put a margin. Mr. Tumbo needs a salary. Mr. Tumbo needs an office. Mr. Tumbo needs to produce a medical card. Then we also factor something for expenses. So the people, all people who are insured are actually the ones who fund the claims cost and the running of the company. And they pay something to the investor. Because the investor can take the 10,000, or the 2 million, like now they have invested 5.2 billion, they can put that in the bank and they get interest at 14%. And even now, people also think like even an insurance broker is an insurance company. Yes, yes. I met a very educated guy, a friend of mine, I told him I work with Jubilee. He says, okay, I have no relationship with you because my insurer is Aon. I told him, no, Aon is a broker. I said, no. For 20 years, I've insured with Aon. So he may believes Aon is an insurer. So even the players in the industry, people don't understand what are their roles. You see, world over, actually life is larger than the short term. Because life, what dictates the life covers is the population and ability to pay. In Kenya, for instance, we have more younger people who have joined the workforce and who are in the middle and lower income brackets. These are the people who are taking the life policies. Initially, or previously, you would find there was a time that the multinationals which were here, name them, Alico, Prudential, Old Mutual, all this. In the 80s, when they talked about AIDS, then the foreign companies said all Africans and Kenyans are going to die. So they closed shop and took off. They have realized that the Kenyan is not dying. So business is stagnated. There was nobody taking insurance cover. That's why you find companies that stuck on, like Pan Africa and Britam. They actually developed. Alico, they sold. UAP, they sold. They moved. Old Mutual, they left. When they realized that now this is where the growth is, because Europe population is not increasing. Actually, population, the older people are more than the youth. It's the reverse in Africa. The youth, people below 35, people below 40 are more by a significant number than the people who are old. And these are the people who take the life covers. So you will find that having removed that stigma that the Africans are going to die, people have invested. Prudential has come and is recruiting agents like mad. UAP, Old Mutual, Allianz, all of them are coming. Allianz actually is soon starting live. They started with the general. So you will find that all those foreign companies are now coming back because they realize this is where the future is. And watch that space. Many people will be taking life because life is protection and life is investment. You take a life policy, it's going to mature. So you have a protection element that should anything happen, that's assured some can be paid early. But should you survive the period, again you are picking that money plus the bonuses accrued. So it's an investment avenue. It's like the pensions. So that's where now we will mobilize funds for developing the economy. That's why you'll find life funds are actually the ones which funded or which still fund most of the infrastructure in the economies, because those are money for long term. You take a policy today, you're not expecting benefit today, and you will be giving money every month. And if that money is still invested, and that's what transforms the economy. So the population, the ability to purchase is the right population. We have the younger child population. We have the middle income, the low income who can afford, and we are seeing for real people know the value of life insurance, and many are buying now. Ours could be 40% as a percentage would be higher, but if you check companies which had a large agency force, like now Britam, their fund is so significant. In the absolute numbers, it's like now when you say we grew by 10%, because we are a 24 billion company, or 16%. Now we moved from 21 to 24 billion. But you will find a company that grew from 500 to 1.5. What is the percentage growth? It will be very significant. So now for us, yes, we are catching up. We have good products. The policies that are moving are for children education, the education policies, and the FANACA. That's the endowment policy where people are taking a cover that will mature and give benefit. Those are the most popular now. Education policies and investment policies. And our products seem to be selling.